Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So on today's video, what I'm going to be doing is our February Azure Standard haul. So I'm just going to go over my order, what got left off of it, and kind of what my plans are for this. And then at the end of the video, I'll tell you how much it was. All right, so let's get into it. Okay, so starting with some new products to me, we decided we're going to try the Azure cheese. So I got a block of mozzarella, which is almost 6 pounds. And then a block of organic mild cheddar, which is like 5.5 pounds. I don't have a slicer, like a cheese slicing machine, I guess, but I do have like a wire. That's how I plan on cutting this stuff up. I will slice this up for sandwiches, and I will probably slice this up or block this out for shredding, and that'll become like for pizza and whatnot. Cajun seasoning, we were out, so I ordered some of that. I'm going to attempt to make some yogurt, and I have a little yogurt maker. I haven't used it in years, but I'm going to try again. Arnica muscle massage oil. We've been dealing with like a lot of muscle pain and ache and stuff, and I think it's just like a natural part of getting older, so I thought I would give this a try. Some organic jalapenos. It's not quite jalapeno season here yet, so I went ahead and ordered these, and I want to can some salsa. So I have a source for organic tomatoes nearby, right there. But I need to go to our CSA and get like a couple dozen boxes of tomatoes, I think. So also we have dry yeast, cornmeal, organic cornstarch, organic grits. If you're not in the South, you probably don't know what grits are, but polenta, basically. So 2 things of probiotic sour cream and 2 things of probiotic cream cheese. We're gonna give these a try. I don't know if we're gonna like them or not, but I just didn't wanna, I want to make them eventually. I wanna get to the point where I'm making my own cream cheese and my own sour cream, but I'm not there yet. Heavy cream, so 6 things of heavy cream. In this box is chicken feet and chicken necks, which I'm going to actually turn into chicken stock, so chicken broth. In here is 18 pounds of butter. We go through butter like crazy, so this will go right in the freezer. I did try to get the organic one, but they were sold out, so this was my like substitute. 10 pounds of yellow onions, 20 pounds of potatoes, and then all the way over here, I have 25 pounds of sugar cane, 25 pounds of pastry flour, and 50 pounds of bread flour. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to break this all down into Mylar bags and get them in the freezer. Well, I'll get them in the freezer first, and then I'll break them down into Mylar bags, but that's the plan for that. All right, so because we're a family of 4, I don't order from Azure Standard all that often, but I would like to order more often. And because like what I talked about, I want to do single source ingredient foods. And I'm trying to source local if possible, but because I live in Central Florida, things like wheat, I'm not going to be able to get that. It's just not, it doesn't grow here. It's too wet, it's too hot. So in order to make bread from scratch and whatnot, I'm gonna need to have a single source for that. So I'm gonna lean heavily on Azure Standard organics for the things that I just can't find here. And also probably over the course of the year, I'm hoping that this haul will last about 3 months. We'll see. What I wanna do is I wanna print out the order and then write down when we run out of something, like write the date down of when we run out of something, so that I can get a better idea of like, we're going through X amount in this many months, so that I know like when the next order has to be placed. So if you're not familiar with Azure Standard, they only do deliveries once a month, and it's like a big buying co-op. And there's like 3 or 4 in my town actually as Azure drops. I live in a pretty big city. Well, I live outside of a really big city, we'll put it that way. But anyways, what was I going to say? Oh, so all these people get together and we buy, and then you get a discount on the shipping because it's one semi truck that stops at one place, and then we all unload the truck. and we take what we ordered. So it's a very cool concept. It's a great way to save a ton of money on organic things like wheat in particular. I think like I can get better prices at Costco for a lot of things, but I can't guarantee the source at Costco where I can guarantee the source at Azure Standard. And I can't necessarily guarantee that it's going to be organic at Costco either. So I'm going to have to do some like deep diving and try to figure out where are the best prices for different things as we run out of stuff. So that'll be coming. So anyhow, I said that I would give you the final price. So all of this plus shipping at the end was $540. So it seemed like a lot up front, and it kind of is, but I'm really hoping that this is going to last us for quite a while. I know the sugar and the bread flour will probably last. The sugar's probably going to last for the year, honestly. The bread flour, I'm hoping we get 3 to 4 months out of it, and the pastry flour about the same. So if I don't have to buy, for example, flour at Costco, a 20-pound bag of flour, of organic all-purpose flour at Costco, I think was $17. And then a 50-pound bag of actual bread flour, organic bread flour at Azure Standard was like $30. So way more cost effective to order from Azure Standard. All right. So anyways, I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm going to go ahead and start breaking down these chicken pieces for stock, and I'll be posting a video about that. Bye.
All right. Hey guys. So it's future me. As I was editing this video, I realized that I didn't really have like final thoughts as I was actually unboxing the order. And it was kind of hard to have final thoughts because I wasn't finished, right? I actually had to test the wheat that I got. I had to make the bone broth. So I couldn't have done my final thoughts right then. So this is just future me giving kind of a rundown of my final thoughts about ordering with Azure and the process, and maybe give you some tips and tricks. So my final thoughts on the entire process was that the quality was excellent. I'm really glad I already had 5-gallon buckets on hand with the gamma lids in order to store everything. I also already had Mylar bags. If you don't have 5-gallon buckets and Mylar bags, you can usually get my 5-gallon buckets really inexpensively at a grocery store or on Amazon. You can also get the Mylar bags really inexpensively on Amazon as well. If you happen to have like a bulk food store nearby, or even like an Amish supply store, then you might be able to grab those things there at those places. I don't have anything like that close by. Another thought that I had is that I underestimated how much time I was gonna need to deal with breaking down all of that bulk food into manageable quantities. So like that 50-pound bag of flour, you have to put flour, well, you should put flour in the freezer for 72 hours before storing it long term. That's just to kill any potential like flour weevil eggs or anything that might be in there. If you're going to use your flour really fast, you don't have to do that like your small bags of flour, but if you're going to store it long term, you really should. I have had just some heartbreaking amounts of flour losses when I thought, oh, it's just like 20 pounds. I'll go through it really quick. And then I go to open the bag and it's full of weevils. And then like all of my flour items in my pantry got to get thrown out because it's not like being stored in airtight containers or anything like that. So, and it usually what it is it's like one thing, like the last time this happened, it was like a bag of, I don't know, semolina flour, which I only used on occasion to like dust pizza pans. And so because I never put that in the freezer and I only used it very, very rarely, that's what had the weevils. And then they spread to everything else in the pantry. And it was just devastating. We're on a tight budget. Like I'm trying to make things work here, and just having to throw out all of my bulk flours was like, all right, I learned a lesson. I don't want to learn this lesson again. So my tip to you is to put your flours in the freezer for at least 72 hours and then break them down. All right. But also I just, like I said, I underestimated how much time it was going to take to break everything down. Like that day I had made chicken stock. And so I was doing like multiple things. I was testing the flour right away to see how it was going to bake up with bread. I used it in like one of my just regular bread recipes. It didn't do very well. And then I realized this is true whole grain. The flour that I ordered from Azure, they use a process called unifying on all their flours. And they take the whole grain and they actually like pulverize it down. So they're not separating the pieces out, which most like store-bought flours are doing. So their flour is a little bit heartier, but you have to take that into consideration when you're baking. And for whatever reason, it just didn't cross my mind to do that. But then as it was rising, I realized that the little whole grains were actually tearing at the gluten structures. So I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I got to add more water. I've got to be a little bit more picky about the recipe that I use. So I will have a video about this in the future, but I did find a great recipe to deal with the whole wheat. I thought the price per unit was good, but depending on the item. So I have a friend that runs a naturopathy store close by. So I can get really good prices on items like hair care, body care, that kind of thing. But the prices per item on things like flour and the stuff that I was buying in bulk, the bulk cane sugar, that kind of thing, way better on Azure than what I could get at Costco for a similar product in the same size. So I did spend I think the flour that I got with Azure was $32 for a 50 pound bag. And at Costco, I was spending $22 for a 20 pound bag. So if you do the math, it works out to less per unit, less per pound at Azure than it did at Costco. But even that's not really even that comparable, because at Costco I was just getting all-purpose white flour, all-purpose unbleached white flour that wasn't whole. So not as healthy as a product, I suppose. But you do what you can until you can do better. So I also thought that the ordering on my phone, which is, I primarily use my phone for everything. I rarely ever sit at a desktop. But ordering on the phone felt a little clunky. I kept forgetting that you have to push update cart button as you're changing things. So, but then once your cart is updated, it holds forever. So there was stuff that went out of stock last month that I'm going to have to order this month, plus a couple other things, and they stayed put. So all of that was fine. I think it might be easier to use the computer to order. I'm going to have to test this theory. Pickup was easy, but I think it could be really hectic if it had been raining or if you didn't have a really cohesive buying group. My group is pretty old. It's been around for a long time. It's been the same people running it for as long as I've lived here. And I only order a few times a year. I'm not a very consistent orderer, mostly because I don't plan far enough ahead, or I haven't in the past planned far enough in advance to plan out the groceries that I might need for the next few months to make a bulk purchase worth it. So typically I just shop at Costco, Aldi, every once in a while Publix if either of those two places doesn't have what I'm looking for. Sometimes I've got to go to the local health food store, which is crazy expensive, but I understand why. And then I also order from a local CSA, which that's something new I just started this year. I have done it in the past, but not from this particular CSA. And then I also get a raw milk delivery. So those are a couple, and I just started that as well too, because I want to learn how to make cheese. Okay. So anyways, I find that the ordering can be a little clunky. That's all I was going to say. Things go in and out of stock super frequently, so check your order before it ships. Now, Azure's good about sending you reminder emails to letting you know that, hey, your order's going to ship in the next 72 hours or however long it is. Maybe it's only 24 hours. Please confirm your order, check it, whatever. and you can check out and then keep adding throughout the month. So I just, at the beginning of this month, I'm starting a cart. So it's about a week into the month already. And I've already started a new cart for March. And my delivery is in the beginning of the month. So it's like this first Friday or something. I think it's the first Friday of every month. And your delivery will change. Your delivery will probably be different based on where you live and how much your group is ordering. So if you're curious, if you have an Azure Standard group close to you, just go onto Azure Standard's website and put in your zip code, and it'll show you your closest groups, your closest ordering groups. And then on their website, it will also give you their contact information for the group leaders. Sometimes they have Facebook pages. My group communicates primarily through Facebook, but since I don't have a Facebook, that's kind of inconvenient. So I just sent the group leader a text and let them know that I had ordered this month, and just to confirm that pickup was going to be like Friday at 9 a.m. like it always has been. And the group leader text me back that same night and confirmed. And so it was all good. My group leader is pretty good about sending out a reminder text the night before. And it was all simple. But I could see how if you had like an unorganized group, how it could be chaotic. Because your group is responsible for unloading the truck. So you've got to have a good group of people. Let's see. Substitutions were easy to do online, which was handy because stuff goes in and out of stock. And then like on their website, it'll say, oh, we're out of stock on this, but we expect to have 1,000 back in stock before your order ships. But just realize that will probably change. Like it will fluctuate throughout the month. So just go ahead and add stuff to your cart, even if it's currently out of stock. And then what you can do is you can choose, like if this item is out of stock. So for instance, I wanted a particular brand of organic butter and it was out of stock. So I chose a different brand that wasn't organic, but was still good. As my substitute. And so when my order shipped, the organic butter had gone out of stock, so they substituted the non-organic version, which was fine. I got the butter, and it's like I'm already using non-organic butter for most things, so it's fine. Also, check the clearance section on the website for some really good deals. Usually their clearance stuff will be like dented cans or stuff that's missing a flip cap, but the seal is still intact, or stuff that they're discontinuing. There's not always something there that's like a great deal, but if you're already looking for it, like I have found canned beans on there, or even like canned artichoke, that kind of stuff, where the cans were dented, and so they were selling it at like either a 10 or a 20% discount. And it was stuff that I was already going to be ordering. So that's a nifty little tip right there. Oh, what else was I going to add? I think that was everything on my list, but I did want to say that you can order with debit or credit card. They'll accept both. And if you have any questions, their customer service is phenomenal. So you can do email. I think they have a live chat. I've never used it. If they do, and call. I have had to call just to like get something refunded. So the one thing I would say is that I think their organic produce is hit and miss. I have had great successes and I have had great failures with the produce. And part of that is that they're shipping out of, I don't know, Washington, Idaho, Oregon, somewhere in the Northwest. So they're shipping out of the Northwest and I live in the Southeast. So it's going to take a long time for their produce to get to me. And it's not flying, it's being driven via semi-truck. And they have to make stops along the way to drop off orders. So if it's something that ships really well, I would feel real confident ordering it. Like the green peppers that I got distracted. The green peppers that I got or the jalapeno peppers that I got in my last order were great. But I ordered tomatoes like several months ago. I ordered bulk tomatoes several months ago. And by the time they got to me, like half of them were rotten. and they were like unusably rotten. So, and I have seen that repeated as like a complaint that can happen. So I would just caution, like if you live far enough away from where the shipping is originating from, which is in the Northeast, probably don't count on that for your fresh produce. I think their frozen produce is phenomenal, and their dried produce is also phenomenal as well. I love their dedication to quality, and I love their dedication to to sourcing their ingredients from places that we can trust. So that's super helpful. I think that's it for my final thoughts on Azure Standard. I'm definitely going to be ordering again. I like the idea of this forces me to plan ahead. So this forces me to say, okay, what am I going to need in 2 months? And start looking through my pantry. And this has actually streamlined my pantry a good bit. I used to have lots of bags of just like small bags of ingredients that weren't getting used up. And this actually is forcing my pantry to pare down a bit so that I'm keeping on hand the things that I'm actually using and not just those one-off ingredients that you might have to buy from time to time. So I guess that's my final thoughts. Well, I hope that was helpful. Thank you guys so much again for joining me. I really appreciate all of the support, the likes, and the comments, especially when you share and subscribe. Those are super helpful to me, just as I learn YouTube and as I try to grow this channel. If there's any questions I can answer, leave them in the comments below. All right, thanks. Bye, guys. Love you.